I had never planned to go there. Honestly, if life hadn't pushed me into it, I don't think I would have ever stepped anywhere near that place. The locals called it the Vault, though some spoke its real name only in whispers. The repository of the forgotten. It wasn't on any official map. No tours, no history plaques, no urban legend videos. Just rumors. Old, dusty, half-remembered, like a bad dream you try not to think about. The invitation came from a guy I barely considered a friend, Cyrus. Cyrus was strange. Not dangerous, at least not in the way one expects, just someone who never quite fitted into normal life. He looked like a man who hadn't slept in weeks. Messy hair, clothes always a little too big, shoulders slouched, yet somehow strong, wiry like a coiled spring. And that smile of his, thin, crooked, unsettling. We didn't hang out often, mostly he just appeared out of nowhere, started talking at you, then vanished again just as quickly. That day, he stopped me in the street with his usual eager look. "Do you want to see something special?" he asked. "Something almost nobody has ever seen?" I gave a casual shrug. There was nothing special in our city, or so I thought. Cyrus grinned wider. "Trust me, this isn't some abandoned building. This is history, things that were never supposed to be seen again, things people forced themselves to forget." I still didn't really believe him until he said the name. It's called the Repository. The word crawled across my spine like cold fingers. I don't know why, but I said yes. The place was hidden behind an old factory block on the edge of the industrial district, a windowless concrete building swallowed by weeds and time. No sign, no markings, just a single rusted metal door. Inside, a steep staircase sank downward into the dark like a throat. That's where I first saw her. A girl standing at the bottom of the stairs. She was sharp-eyed, athletic, calm, the type of person whose presence alone says, "I can handle myself." Cyrus introduced her casually. "This is Alex. She comes here sometimes." She gave a polite nod, though her expression said, "I don't trust this guy either." The deeper we went, the colder it became. Metal shelves stretched into endless rows, piled with relics. Not museum relics, but discarded nightmares, cracked telephones, ancient toys, burnt photographs, broken radios, and objects covered in thick sheets of plastic that concealed shapes a little too human. The air tasted like dust and secrets. "Everything down here," Cyrus said proudly, "was once real, once alive in this city's story. People don't talk about it now, but the vault remembers." For a moment, I thought he was exaggerating until we turned the corner, and I saw the first skull. Not animal. Not human. Something between. Forward-facing eye sockets like a person, but the rest elongated into a monstrous hooked beak. I felt my stomach twist. "Those were real?" I whispered. Cyrus smiled like a man showing off a pet. Everything here was real. That was the moment I realized this wasn't a storage room. It was a graveyard for impossible things. We kept walking deeper between the shelves. The lights overhead were weak and yellow, buzzing like dying insects. Shadows clung to everything. Every now and then I caught a shape out of the corner of my eye, something tall or hunched or crooked, but when I turned my head, it was always just a covered object, wrapped in fabric that looked disturbingly skin-tight. I wanted to ask how far this place stretched, but I didn't. Some questions feel dangerous the moment they form. Alex walked ahead of us, inspecting things cautiously, every sense alert. Cyrus drifted behind her, relaxed and almost cheerful, like a man giving a tour of his childhood playground. At one point, I finally spoke. "Where did all this come from?" He didn't look at me when he answered. "From here, from the city, from before people stopped remembering." That phrasing bothered me. "Stopped remembering?" I repeated. "Yes," he said. "Not forgot, chose not to remember." The first corridor opened into a wide chamber. In the center stood a tall mirror, not decorative, not clean, but warped, rust-rimmed, and mounted in a heavy iron frame like a doorway that had forgotten how to be a doorway. The moment I looked at it, my chest tightened. The glass wasn't reflective in a normal way. It didn't show me, not clearly, just a thin silhouette, stretched, boneless, whispering. "You feel that?" I asked quietly. Alex didn't answer. She was staring at her own reflection, or rather, her absence of reflection. In the glass, she wasn't standing still. The version of her inside the mirror was breathing faster, her shoulders trembling, her lips moving like she was begging to be let out. I stepped closer before I could stop myself. The thing in the mirror tilted its head. Not my head, its head. And then, it smiled. Not wide, not exaggerated, but wrong. like the facial muscles moved in the wrong order. A shiver shot through me. "Don't stand too close," Cyrus said casually, as if warning us about a loose floor tile. "This one remembers faces." Alex snapped out of it, backing away with a sharp breath. Whatever she saw, it shook her. Beyond the mirror was another corridor, narrower and colder than before. The shelves here were different. Small compartments, each containing something sealed behind glass panes. At first, I thought they were prosthetics, masks maybe, until I looked closer. They were faces, not full heads, just faces, like someone had peeled the identity off the skull and preserved it. Some were serene, some were twisted with terror, some were smiling far too wide. I felt ice crawl up my spine. "Don't worry," Cyrus said. "Most of them aren't active anymore." Most. The word made my stomach sink. We finally reached a metal gate. Painted on it, in faded black strokes, were 5 short warnings. Do not wander alone. Do not touch the covered things. Do not speak to anything that speaks first. If you feel watched, you are. Never look back after the 6th corridor. Alex read them out loud slowly, then turned to Cyrus. "Why Rule 5? He didn't answer immediately. For the first time all day, he looked uneasy. "Because after the 6th corridor," he said quietly, "the ones behind you are not us anymore." A cold silence settled between us. That was the moment I realized. This wasn't a tour. This was a test. Something down here was waiting. And Cyrus had brought us to meet it. We passed through the metal gate, and the atmosphere changed immediately, like crossing an invisible threshold. The air wasn't just cold anymore. It felt pressurized, as if the walls themselves were breathing in slow, heavy intervals. Alex slowed her pace. I could see the tension in her shoulders. Cyrus, however, seemed strangely energized, like the vault recognized him, or perhaps welcomed him. The 6th corridor wasn't far, Cyrus told us, but before we could reach it, we had to pass through something he called the archive of things that should not be found. We were halfway down the aisle when I heard it. A soft scrape, like cloth sliding over metal. I turned, nothing. Then it happened again, closer this time. Not loud, no sudden jump scare, just a slow repositioning. Something adjusting its posture behind the plastic sheet. Alex froze. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. I nodded. Cyrus didn't answer, but he smiled quietly to himself. Not amusement, recognition. The covered figure closest to me shifted again, slow, deliberate, the shape underneath gaining clarity. I took a step back, the plastic wrap inflated as if something underneath had just taken a breath. Alex reached for my arm. "Don't engage it," Cyrus murmured without turning around. "Not unless it speaks first." The rule echoed in my head. Do not speak to anything that speaks first. I didn't understand the rule when I saw it. Now I did. Because if it spoke first, it meant it was aware. We moved past the shelf, trying not to look, but curiosity pulled at me like a hook. The figure wrapped in plastic was the shape of a person. Long arms, shoulders sunken forward. But the proportions were subtly wrong. The arms were too long, the spine too curved, the head tilted too sharply to one side like a marionette left hanging on a crooked nail. As we passed, the plastic tightened against its face. Something beneath it smiled. Not visually. You could feel the smile like heat in the air. My mouth went dry. I forced myself to keep walking. At the end of the aisle stood a set of heavy steel doors, double-bolted, with chains looped through thick latches. Old, scratched lettering above them read, "Archive, Level 2. Cyrus ran his hand along the locking bar. Below this point, he said softly, "We're not just visitors, we're participants." Alex frowned. "Participants in what?" Cyrus looked at her, but the smile was gone now. "In remembrance." Those words didn't make sense until I noticed something else. The vault wasn't just storing objects, it was waiting for people, like a mouth waits for a voice to speak. Before Cyrus could unbolt the first chain, Alex stiffened. "Did you hear that?" she whispered again. This time I heard it too. Not scraping, not breathing. Footsteps, soft dragging footsteps matching our pace, a few shelves behind us but never catching up, not coming closer, just following. I turned slowly. There was no one there, but the plastic on the nearest covered figure was now facing us, like it had turned its head. Cyrus slid the last chain loose. The double doors opened with a groan. And as we stepped through into level 2, I realized something horrifying. That dragging footstep sound, it wasn't pursuing us, it was accompanying us. Like something had decided we now belonged to it. The doors of level 2 shut behind us with a heavy finality, not like a door closing, but like a sealed verdict. The sound didn't echo, it sank, swallowed by the air like something hungry. Down here, the light was different. Dimmer, yes, but also older, like illumination from a world that hadn't seen the sun in a long, long time. The shelves were arranged differently too, not neat rows, but paths, curving like ribs around a heart we could not yet see. The further we walked, the stranger the artifacts became. A rotary telephone with 12 numbers instead of 10. A child's drawing of a family, all smiling, except the mother's face was erased and replaced with finger-shaped dents in the paper. A music box with no key, still playing a lullaby from somewhere inside the wood. Alex slowed down at one display. A pair of shoes, small, like a child's. But the soles had teeth marks on the inside, as if something tiny had been living in them, chewing its way out. "This is not human history," she whispered. Cyrus finally spoke, softly, almost fondly. "It is the history people refuse to admit was real." I stopped walking. "This place, how do you know about it, Cyrus? Who showed you?" He didn't answer immediately. When he finally looked at me, something in his expression was different. Not friendly, not excited, just claimed. "I didn't learn about it," he said. "I was brought here, same as you." Alex frowned. "Who brought you?" Cyrus's gaze drifted down the corridor. "The ones that remember." He said it with a reverence that sounded disturbingly close to devotion. We kept walking, but something was wrong now. The shelves no longer looked symmetrical. The corridor no longer looked straight. The air had a pulse, faint like a heartbeat buried in stone. Alex noticed it too. "The floor is slanting," she whispered. But it wasn't. We were. The angle of the world was bending around us so gradually the senses didn't know how to protest, like reality was rot, softening from the inside. At the next corner, I glanced back. Reflex, a normal instinct, yet the sight froze my spine. The corridor behind us was not the corridor we walked through. The placements were wrong. The objects were different. The shelves were fuller, as if something had followed behind us, filling the empty spaces. We were approaching a narrow turn when Cyrus suddenly lifted a hand, signaling us to stop. He wasn't looking forward, he was looking up. At first I saw nothing, just shadow on the high shelf, until it shifted, something perched above us. Bent, wrong, waiting. A long arm drooped over the edge, fingers tapering into points that scraped softly against the wood. Alex whispered, barely audible, "That isn't covered." "No," Cyrus said, almost respectfully. "Some of them don't sleep." The thing moved, crawling along the top shelf in a spider-like glide, silent except for the sickening stretch of joints. Then it vanished behind a row of relics. Not fleeing, positioning, like a predator choosing better footing. A few steps later, we found the first sign that someone else had been here before us. A flashlight, dropped on the ground, still flickering. Not dusty, not old, recent. Alex's voice lowered. Someone else came down here, and didn't come back up. Cyrus didn't deny it. Someone always does. And that was the moment I realized we weren't just seeing the vault. The vault was studying us, deciding which one of us wouldn't leave. The further we descended, the quieter everything became. Not the kind of silence that brings peace, but the kind that presses on your skull, thick and suffocating. Even our footsteps began to sound wrong, delayed, slightly echoing a fraction of a second too late, like something was walking in perfect imitation half a step behind us. The corridor split ahead into two directions. Left, a narrow path lined with sealed glass boxes. Right, a wide tunnel leading into deeper dark. Above the entrance to the right, painted in faded red, were the words, "Corridor 6, do not look back." Alex stopped first. Her flashlight beam trembled in her hand. "Cyrus," she said quietly, "why this rule? What happens if we look back?" He didn't answer right away. He was staring down the dark tunnel like he was listening to something none of us could hear. Finally, he said, "It's not about seeing what's behind you. It's about letting it know that you've noticed." Alex frowned. "What happens if we notice?" Cyrus turned to her. His voice was almost tender when he said it. "Then it follows you home." That's when I realized Cyrus wasn't scared of this place. He belonged to it. We stepped in. The air was colder than before, dry, electric. The lights overhead had almost all died, only a few flickered faintly, creating brief pulses of sight that made the world move in frames instead of motion. Each flicker showed the shelves around us just slightly different. Objects shifting position, some closer, some farther, and in one flicker I saw something standing at the end of the hall. A figure. Still, tall, watching. But when the light came back on, it was gone. Alex gripped my sleeve. "Tell me you saw that." I nodded slowly. "Don't react," Cyrus said. "If it thinks you didn't see it, it might lose interest." But I could feel it, like breath on the back of my neck. The instinct to turn around grew unbearable. Every sound, every flicker, every creak behind us screamed, "Look." I clenched my fists, fighting it. Then it spoke. Not loud, not even in words at first, just a breath drawn right next to my ear, though there was no one there. Then a whisper, soft, almost kind. "I remember you." My blood ran cold. I froze. Alex looked at me, terrified. "What did it say?" She whispered. Before I could answer, the voice came again, clearer this time, from behind us. "I remember your face." Alex took a step backward, reflex, but Cyrus snapped. "Don't turn around." She stopped mid-step, trembling. The whispering grew, layers of voices overlapping now, men, women, children, all murmuring the same phrase again and again. "I remember you, I remember you, I remember you." Like the vault itself was learning us, recording us. Then Alex made a fatal mistake. Something brushed against her shoulder, a cold, deliberate touch, and she flinched, gasping, turning instinctively to see what it was. The moment she turned, the whispering stopped, complete silence. Then, behind me, I heard her choke. Not a scream, not pain, just a sound cut off mid-breath. I spun around before I could stop myself. She was gone. No blood, no body. Just her flashlight on the floor, still on, still humming, shining against the far wall. The beam illuminated faint, wet handprints leading downward into the shadows. Cyrus didn't move. He just stared at the spot where she'd been, then whispered almost reverently, "The vault remembers her now." For a moment I couldn't move. My mind wouldn't accept what I had just seen, or rather what I didn't see. 1 second Alex was right beside us. The next, erased. Not taken violently, just removed like a page torn clean from a book. Cyrus didn't panic. He only breathed out slowly, almost peacefully. "She looked back," he murmured. "She saw who was following her. That's all it needs." I grabbed his arm. "We have to get her out. She's alive. She has to be." He turned his head toward me, not angry, not mocking, just pitying. "No," he said gently. "She's not gone. She's just not here anymore." Something in that phrasing sounded wrong, not final, but claimed. The silence didn't last. It never does in places like this. We hadn't taken 3 steps when a soft sound echoed from behind us. A shuffle, then a familiar inhale, shaky and terrified. Then a voice, her voice. "Guys, where are you?" I froze. It was Alex, but it wasn't really Alex. The tone was right, the breath pattern, the fear, but something about it was too clean, too perfectly copied, like a recording imitating the idea of a person. Cyrus didn't even turn around. "Do not answer," he said quietly. "It's not calling to her friends, it's calling to its next memory." The voice grew closer. "Please, don't leave me here." That broke something in me, because the sorrow in it was real. Either the vault was speaking through her voice, or she was speaking from inside it. I didn't know which one was worse. The hallway ahead of us curved sharply, twisting in on itself like bone warped under heat. The shelves bulged outward, shapes pressing from the inside of the tarps and sheets, trying to learn the shape of the ones still walking. Behind us, her footsteps began again. Slow, wet, dragging, as if the ground itself clung to her skin. Step, step. I clenched my jaw. "Why is it mimicking her?" I whispered. Cyrus's expression darkened, reverent again, nearly worshipful. "It is not mimicking her," he said softly. "It is remembering her. Once the vault remembers, it never forgets." Something snapped into place inside me, a realization I had been avoiding since the moment he led us down here. "You knew this would happen," I said. "You brought her here for this." He didn't deny it. "Not her," he said. "Anyone. Someone the vault would choose." Choose for what? He met my eyes then, and I saw it clearly. He wasn't a guide. He was an offering. "To feed remembrance," he whispered. "To keep the vault alive." My stomach turned cold. We rounded another corner, and there she was. Alex stood at the end of the corridor. Except, it wasn't Alex. Her posture was wrong, too still. Her head tilted too far, her eyes wide like a deer that had been taxidermied standing up. The flashlight beam flickered over her face, and I saw the truth. Her skin didn't sit on her the way skin should. It was draped like a mask held in place by something wearing her from the inside. When she blinked, the eyelids closed sideways first, then vertically, like the body was trying to remember how blinking worked. And then it smiled. Not her smile. A vault smile. Wide. Empty. Learning. "I remember you," it said. But this time, it used my voice. I staggered backward. Hearing my own voice coming from that thing wearing Alex's shape triggered a cold, primal panic. The kind that doesn't start in the mind, but in the spine. The imitation blinked again, slower this time, like a machine testing new functions. "I remember you," it repeated, but the second time it mixed voices. My tone layered over Alex's, like two recordings misaligned. Cyrus stepped forward, not afraid. Reverent. "It knows you now," he whispered. "It has learned your outline." "My outline?" I choked. He nodded slowly. "First it learns the presence, then the voice, then the fear. After that," his eyes shifted toward me, glowing with a horrible certainty, "a face is easy." "What is this place?" I demanded. "Why does it take people? What is it storing down here?" Cyrus turned to me like he was explaining a sacred doctrine. "Not objects. Not relics. People." I shook my head, horrified. People disappear, they get preserved. Their existence is erased above, so it can continue below. Everything that was witnessed, everything the world couldn't bear, and ends up here. Why? His voice turned almost gentle. Because forgetting is not the same as erasing. Everything the world denies must live somewhere. This place is where memory goes when it's no longer allowed to be part of reality. That's when I understood. The vault wasn't hiding history. It was hoarding it. Every disappearance, every impossible thing, every wrongness the world pretends never existed. It was all down here. Not dead, just waiting for someone to remember it back. The figure took a step toward us, slow, jerky, learning the motion as it went. The light flickered. In one frame, it was 10 feet away. In the next, 7. Its head tilted and the skin over its cheek pulled too tight, like something underneath was smiling too wide for the face it was wearing. "Help me," the voice was out. "Please don't leave me," the voice was almost her. "I remember you." The voice was mine again. Each repetition was closer to perfect. It didn't just remember her, it was rebuilding her, piece by piece, from the inside. I turned on him. "You brought us here to feed it." He exhaled, calm, resigned. Every so often the vault needs a witness, a living mind, someone to see what has been buried and know it was real. Once it has their memory, it keeps them. The rest of the world forgets they existed. My voice shook. "And you just let that happen?" He didn't blink. "I owe it my life. It remembered me when everyone else forgot I existed. Down here, I was never invisible." He wasn't just serving the vault. He belonged to it, a disciple, a courier of offerings. The not Alex took another step. The skin around its jaw was beginning to split, as if something larger underneath was testing the seams. The fingers twitched in slow rotations, like bones trying out new positions. "Cyrus," I whispered, "what happens if I refuse?" He looked almost sad. "Then you stay. Something must stay. The vault trades memory for memory. To leave, someone must be remembered in your place." I felt my throat tighten. This wasn't a visit, it was a selection. One person leaves, one person becomes archive, and Alex was already taken. The vault wasn't hunting me, it was choosing between us. Because now it had two faces to learn, hers and mine. And only one of us would walk back up those stairs. For a moment, everything was silent. Cyrus didn't scream, didn't fight, didn't resist. He only watched the figure standing inches away from him, the broken reflection behind the glass, wearing his own face, but older, hollow, starved of light. The copy reached out, not to grab him, but to touch the surface, as if comparing which side was real. Then it smiled, a slow, wrong, human-shaped imitation of a smile. Cyrus stumbled backward, breathing sharp, cold air that didn't feel like air at all, more like the memory of breathing. The figure lifted one trembling finger and traced a line across the mirror, leaving a gleaming, wet smear, like it was marking him. Suddenly, all the lights behind Cyrus shut off, one by one, in a perfect straight retreat, following him in reverse. Not random flickers, not malfunction, intelligent closing. As if the labyrinth itself was sealing him in. He ran, not thinking, not planning, just instinct. Left, right, left again. His footsteps echoed like someone twice his size was running behind him. The shelves blurred, stretching upward like a cathedral of dead glass and polished eyes. Something followed, but never touched, never pounced, just stayed close enough to be remembered. He wasn't being chased, he was being escorted, guided, Back to the surface, back to the world that was no longer his. The metal door appeared again, the same one, the only constant in the maze. He slammed it open and burst into the hallway. Real light, real air, real sound. For the first time since descending, the world had weight again. He collapsed to the floor, trembling. Behind him, the heavy door clicked shut. Not slammed, not forced, closed like something satisfied. He didn't speak for a long time. He just sat there, staring at his own hands, turning them over again and again as if checking they were still attached. But his reflection in the office glass wall, faint, distorted, wasn't moving in sync for the first half second, as though it was catching up, as though it had learned how long to delay. That night, Cyrus went home, but something came with him. Not physically, not visibly, but present, like a second breath inside his lungs, like a presence occupying the empty half-step behind his heels. When he brushed his teeth later, he caught his reflection staring before he raised his head. It blinked too late, way too late. And for the first time, Cyrus understood the rule that was never written down, the final truth of the sixth corridor. You don't find what lives down there, it finds you. And when it chooses you, it doesn't need corridors anymore. It just follows. For the first few days, Cyrus tried to live normally. On the seventh night, at exactly 3:14 a.m., he woke up not because of a noise, but because of absence. The room felt missing something, like a part of reality had been gently removed and replaced with silence. He sat up slowly. His bedroom mirror, the one he had covered with a sheet, was uncovered. The sheet lay folded neatly on the floor, as if returned, not ripped down, not thrown aside, folded. The reflection was waiting for him, not mimicking posture, not copying angle, just watching. And behind it, he could see the corridor. Not his bedroom, not the wall. The corridor made of glass and shelves stretching into blackness, like a door had reopened through the mirror itself. Cyrus finally understood. The thing never wanted to trap him, it wanted to claim him. The maze below the facility wasn't a prison, it was a hatchery, a place where reflections are grown until they're ready to be worn. Like skins, like replacements, like future occupants. Something doesn't escape from down there. It graduates. The reflection took one step closer to the glass. No copying, no imitation. Independent movement. Its mouth didn't form a smile this time. It parted as if trying the shape of language, tasting it like something new. And then it spoke for the first time. Not loud, not whispered, just inevitable. You came down to find me. A pause, thin as ice, but I came up to become you. The surface of the mirror rippled outward, quiet, slow, like breath on cold water. And Cyrus didn't scream, because deep down he already knew. The corridor was never below the facility. It had always been behind the glass. Waiting for the moment, a living body finally stepped close enough to trade places. Work, sleep, routine. But every reflective surface behaved just slightly wrong. Like delay, like memory, like something learning his shape from the outside in. Glass doors, store windows, even the dark of a laptop screen before it woke. He started covering mirrors at night, stopped using the bathroom light when shaving, turned his phone face down whenever he wasn't using it. It helped until it didn't.